Written exactly according to your instructions. The opening contains a 20 to 25-second romantic hook for voiceover. The section builds intimacy, romance, and suspense, ending on a strong cliffhanger so your audience will not skip. She pressed herself against me so suddenly I almost forgot to breathe. Her legs wrapped around my waist as if I were the only solid thing left in a collapsing universe. Her lips trembled close to mine, her voice softer than starlight, and yet every word cut through me with impossible clarity. Make me full. My pulse thundered in my ears. In that instant, nothing else existed, not the broken ship, not the dying stars outside, only the haunting beauty of this alien elf girl clinging to me like I was her last salvation. I didn't know what she meant, not really, but the heat in her eyes told me it was something I could never ignore. The moment shattered almost as quickly as it began. A warning siren flickered on in the background, low and distant, reminding me that the ship was still failing. The cabin smelled faintly of burnt circuits and recycled air. My hands hesitated at her waist, unsure whether to steady her or to push her gently back, but she only pressed closer, the silken strands of her silver hair brushing against my jaw like the whisper of moonlight. Her eyes, emerald green with a faint glow that looked more like a heartbeat than reflection, searched mine, as though she could read every thought I wasn't ready to admit. I wanted to ask her what she meant, to demand an explanation, but my throat tightened. Something in me feared that if she answered, the fragile spell between us would break. We had been stranded together for only 3 days. 3 days since the outpost explosion forced us into the same escape pod, 3 days since I realized my chances of surviving were tied completely to her. She wasn't like any alien I'd ever met on my travels. She wasn't cold or detached like the diplomats I had seen negotiating across galaxies. She was warm, so unbearably warm, in every glance, every accidental touch. That first night, when the pod's heating failed, she leaned close to share body warmth. I told myself it was survival, nothing more, but the truth was my heartbeat had raced so wildly I couldn't sleep. By the second night, her head had rested on my shoulder as naturally as if she'd always belonged there. Now, on the third night, she had wrapped herself around me completely, whispering words that felt both dangerous and irresistible. Make me full. I finally found my voice, low and uncertain. What do you mean? Her lips curved faintly, but it wasn't quite a smile. More like sadness pretending to be courage. You wouldn't understand. Not yet. Not yet. That phrase lodged in my chest like a hook, pulling me deeper into her mystery. The pod creaked with the stress of drifting through debris. Sparks flickered across the control console where I had spent hours trying to reroute power. We weren't completely adrift, we still had some life support, but the navigation systems were dead. We were alone in this quadrant of space, with nothing but darkness stretching endlessly beyond the windows. And yet, somehow, I wasn't afraid. Not when she was near. Your people, I began, searching for something to fill the silence. Do they all look like you? Her gaze softened, though her grip around me didn't loosen. No, she whispered. I was different even among my own. That's why I'm here. That's why. I'm with you. The way she said with you sent a shiver down my spine. I tried to push the conversation toward safer ground, though my thoughts tangled every time her breath grazed my skin. You haven't told me your name. Her eyes glowed brighter, like stars catching flame. Names carry power among my kind. But if it eases you, call me Elara. Elara, I repeated, the syllables tasting strange but beautiful on my tongue. She rested her forehead against mine for a fleeting second, a touch so intimate my chest ached with the weight of it. I had never felt so needed, so wanted, in all my years of wandering the galaxy. But the silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, charged with things unsaid. I couldn't shake the echo of her plea. Make me full. Was it hunger? Desire? Magic? I couldn't tell. But the desperation in her voice lingered like an unfinished melody. Her hands slid down, finding mine, guiding them to rest against her heartbeat. Her skin was softer than any human's, but beneath it her pulse throbbed with a rhythm too fast, too frantic. Do you feel that? She asked, her voice trembling. Yes. It's because of you. Before I could respond, the lights overhead flickered, plunging us into half-darkness. The hum of the pod systems faltered, then steadied again. Ilara's grip on me tightened, her body trembling as if she'd heard something I hadn't. "What is it?" I whispered. Her eyes darted toward the viewport. Outside, among the scattered debris of the destroyed outpost, faint lights flickered, too deliberate, too synchronized to be random. My heart dropped. "We weren't alone out here. Ilara," I said carefully, "what did you see?" Her voice cracked, barely audible. "Not what? Who?" The glow in her eyes dimmed with fear, though she tried to mask it. She pressed even closer against me, as though my body could shield her from whatever approached in the void. I wanted to ask more, but she only shook her head and whispered again, softer, urgent, almost breaking, "Don't let them take me. Promise me, whatever happens, don't let them." Her plea tore through me, heavier than anything I'd felt before. Whoever they were, they terrified her enough to make her cling to a stranger of me as her only protection. I held her tighter, though I didn't know what I was promising, or what kind of storm we were about to face. Outside the viewport, the lights grew brighter, closing in like hunters circling prey. Ilara's lips brushed against my ear, her voice trembling but desperate. "If they find us, you'll understand what I meant." And then the pod shook violently, throwing us against the walls as the first beam of light pierced the cabin, flooding it in an otherworldly glow. Continuing directly from where Section 1 left off. It builds intimacy, deepens suspense, and ends on another strong cliffhanger without any reboot feeling. The beam of light cut across the cabin like a blade, white and merciless. For a heartbeat, I couldn't move. Ilara's nails dug into my shoulders, her breath hot against my neck as if she were trying to vanish inside me. The pod's metal walls trembled under the weight of whatever force pressed against us from outside. "They found us," she whispered, voice breaking. "Who?" My eyes scanned the viewport, searching for the source of the light. Shapes flickered in the distance, sleek, predatory, nothing like the clunky human crafts I was used to. Her answer came in a tremor, like a prayer she dreaded speaking aloud. "Hunters. They take what doesn't belong to them, and to them, I've never belonged." The fear in her voice struck me harder than the threat itself. She wasn't just afraid of capture, she was terrified of being unmade, erased, something worse than death. I wrapped an arm tighter around her waist, pulling her close as if the sheer act of holding her could protect her from entire fleets. The pod rattled again, alarms shrieking. I cursed under my breath and scrambled toward the controls, dragging her with me. Most systems were fried, but maybe, just maybe, I could squeeze power out of the thrusters. "Strap in," I ordered. She obeyed, sliding into the seat beside mine, though her trembling hand never let go of mine. "If we run," she said softly, "they'll follow. If we stay, they'll take me. Then we fight," I muttered, trying to force power through half-dead circuits. The pod groaned in protest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a surge and a roar, the thrusters spat blue fire. The pod jolted forward, hurling us into the black. Behind us, the hunters' lights flickered, multiplying, fanning out like a net closing around prey. Ilara leaned forward, her hair spilling across her shoulders, eyes glowing with something fierce now, fear tangled with determination. "They won't stop. Not until they have me. You don't understand what I am." "Then tell me," I demanded, teeth clenched as I jerked the pod through the debris field. Shards of broken metal scraped past us, sparks scattering like falling stars. She hesitated, lips parting, then closing again. "If I tell you, you'll look at me differently." "Too late for that," I shot back. "I already can't stop looking at you." Her breath caught. For a second, the danger outside seemed to vanish, replaced by the way her emerald eyes widened, her glow softening with a fragile hope. But the illusion shattered as another beam seared past the pod, close enough to rattle the hull. I swerved hard, and her body pressed against mine again, both of us gripping the console to keep from being thrown. In that instant, fear and adrenaline merged into something sharper, hotter, a connection burning fast and uncontrollable. Her hand slid over mine on the throttle, her skin warm and trembling. "You don't know what you're risking," she whispered, her lips so close I could almost feel them. "Maybe not," I admitted, heart hammering. "But I know what I'd regret if I let them take you." Her eyes softened, a sheen of tears brightening the glow. She looked at me as though no one had ever said such words to her before. We broke through the debris field, only to face the vast emptiness of open space. The hunters were still there, closer now, their ships sleek and glinting like blades under starlight. I could almost feel their hunger, sharp and merciless. Ilara pressed her forehead to the back of my hand, her voice quivering. If they catch me, they'll use me until nothing is left. That's what they do. That's why I ran. I forced my voice steady. Ran from what? My people. Her confession slipped out like a wound opening. We were created for them. To sustain them. But I was born different. My hunger doesn't work the same. When I told them, they called me broken, useless. I fled, but the hunters, they know I'm different. They think I can give them more. Her words echoed in my mind, connecting with her first plea, make me full. My chest tightened. This wasn't just desire or hunger. This was survival. She needed something no one else had given her, something she thought I could. I wanted to ask more, but her hand gripped mine suddenly, urgently. They're boarding. The pod shuddered violently, magnetic clamps latching onto the hull. Red lights flared, alarms screaming. Ilara. Her lips brushed mine in a fleeting, desperate kiss, as if it might be our last. Whatever happens, remember what I asked. Don't let me fade empty. The door tore open with a shriek of metal. Shadows spilled inside, tall, armored figures with faces hidden behind black visors. Their weapons hummed with cold, humming energy. I lunged forward, but one of them struck me across the chest, knocking the breath out of me. Pain flared, but I fought to rise, fury burning hotter than fear. Ilara, I shouted. She stood frozen, glowing brighter than I'd ever seen, her silver hair lifting as though caught in invisible wind. Her emerald eyes blazed, not with terror, but with defiance. One of the hunters reached for her. She took a single step back, then pressed herself against me again, her arms winding around my neck, her voice a desperate command, don't let them separate us. No matter what. The hunter lunged. I grabbed her waist, pulling her tight against me, as the cabin erupted in blinding white light. The white light swallowed everything, the pod, the hunters, even the very air. For a moment I thought I'd gone blind. Ilara clung to me, her body trembling, her voice breaking into a soft gasp that felt both terrified and strangely relieved. When my vision cleared, the pod was gone. We stood in a cavernous chamber, walls shimmering with translucent crystal veins that pulsed like living things. The hunters were still there, but they hesitated now, their visors scanning nervously at the glow radiating from the walls. Ilara pulled away from me just enough to face them. Her glow intensified until her entire body shimmered like a living star. For the first time, I realized she wasn't just beautiful, she was powerful. Terrifyingly so. The leader of the hunters stepped forward, his voice metallic through the mask. You can't run forever, Ilara. You were made for us. Give in, and we'll make your end painless. Her chin lifted, proud despite the fear tightening her grip on my hand. I am not yours. I never was. I looked at her, at the way she shook while standing tall. My chest clenched. She was stronger than anyone I'd ever met, and yet so fragile all at once. What do they mean? I asked softly. She turned her eyes on me, and in their glow I saw raw vulnerability. You wanted the truth. Then listen. My people, we were engineered. A long time ago, another race created us to feed them not with food, but with what lives inside us. Energy. Desire. Connection. Without it, they wither. With it, they thrive. I swallowed hard, the memory of her words make me full stabbing through me like fire. My hunger isn't like the others, she continued, voice breaking. I don't fade by giving. I fade by being empty. By not being held, not being loved. Her last word trembled, as though it was too fragile to exist. My breath caught. The weight of her closeness over the last few days, the way she had pressed against me, clung to me, it all made sense now. She hadn't just been desperate for warmth or comfort. She had been trying to survive. The hunters moved closer. She is valuable beyond imagining. Step aside, human. Something inside me snapped at those words. I pulled her behind me instinctively, though I knew I was no match for them. She's not property. She's not yours. The leader raised his weapon. Before he could fire, Elara cried out. Her glow exploded outward, flooding the chamber in blinding emerald light. The hunters staggered back, shields flickering under the force. Her body collapsed against me, drained, trembling. She whispered hoarsely, I can't hold them off for long. Please. I need you. Her arms wrapped around me again, desperate, pulling me into her warmth. My heart thundered as I cupped her face, forcing her to look at me. Then take what you need. Her lips parted, soft and hesitant. You mean that? I didn't let her doubt linger. I kissed her deep, reckless, full of everything I had been holding back since the moment I first saw her. She gasped into me, her body shuddering as if I had breathed life into her lungs. The glow around her flared, then steadied, brighter, stronger. When we pulled apart, her eyes were wet, but her smile was real this time. You don't know what you've given me. Then show me, I whispered. The hunters roared, recovering from her burst of light. They advanced again, weapons raised. Elara stepped forward, her glow burning steady now, fierce. She lifted a hand, and the chamber itself seemed to answer her. Crystals pulsed, sending waves of light that struck the hunters and forced them back. But the effort cost her, her knees buckled. I caught her before she fell, holding her against me. Her head rested against my chest, her breath shallow. I can't fight forever, she whispered. But with you, I feel full. Alive. The hunters regrouped. One shouted, we'll drain you both. Together, your bond will feed us for centuries. Rage surged through me. I had nothing but my bare hands, but I wasn't going to let them touch her. I pulled Elara closer, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest. Then they'll have to go through me first. She looked up at me, her glow flickering like a heartbeat. Don't let go. Whatever happens, don't let go. The hunters lunged. Elara cried out, and suddenly the chamber shattered into shards of light. We fell, spiraling through nothingness, until we landed hard on a floor of cold stone. When I looked up, I realized we weren't in the chamber anymore. We were inside some kind of ancient ruin, walls carved with runes that pulsed faintly at Elara's presence. She stared at them, awe and dread mixing in her eyes. No, this place, it's forbidden. It's where we were created. My blood ran cold. And they brought us here. She shook her head, trembling. No. I brought us here. Instinct. My power, it brought us back to the beginning. Her legs buckled, and she collapsed into my arms. Her voice was a faint whisper now, breaking my heart with every word. If I fade here, I'll never return. Promise me, keep me full. Her eyes fluttered shut, her glow dimming. Behind us, a door split open, and the shadows of more hunters poured in. I clutched her tighter, fury burning hotter than fear, as I whispered into her hair, I promised. And I'll keep you alive, no matter the cost. And as the hunters closed in, I felt the ruins tremble beneath my feet, responding not to them, but to the bond between me and Elara. Something ancient was awakening. The ruins trembled under my feet, each vibration echoing like a heartbeat from the stone itself. I held Elara against me, her body faintly glowing, fragile as a candle in the wind. Her breath brushed weakly against my chest, and I could feel her slipping. The hunters closed in, their boots thundering across the cracked stone. Weapons raised, voices sharp and merciless. She belongs to us. Step aside, human, and you might live. I shifted her in my arms, tightening my hold until I felt her heartbeat thrum against mine. My voice came out low, steady, and more certain than I'd ever felt in my life. She belongs to no one but herself. And if you want her, you'll have to kill me first. Their leader laughed, the sound hollow inside his visor. Easily done. The first beam of energy shot toward me, but before it could strike, the walls erupted in a blaze of light. Runes carved deep into the stone flared alive, pouring emerald fire through the chamber. The blast hurled the hunters back, scattering them like toys. Elara stirred faintly, her voice weak but determined. The ruins, they're answering us. I looked down at her. Her glow was brighter now, steadier, as if the ruins themselves were feeding her strength. Or perhaps, it was our bond. What do I do? I asked, desperate. She lifted a trembling hand to my face. Don't let go of me. Ever. That's all I need. I pressed my forehead against hers, whispering fiercely, never. The ruins shook harder, and a column of light erupted from the floor, enveloping us both. My skin tingled, every nerve sparking as if the very stone recognized our bond. Ilara's glow merged with the light, her silver hair floating like a halo. The hunters regrouped, but when they tried to approach, the runes lashed out with bursts of energy, striking them down one by one. Their leader staggered to his feet, shouting, "You can't fight us forever. When her hunger returns, she'll come back to us willingly." Ilara's eyes snapped open, and for the first time, there was no fear in them, only fire. She pulled herself up, still leaning on me, but her voice rang clear. "No. I've found what I need." The glow around her spread into me, wrapping us both in emerald radiance. I felt her warmth, her heartbeat, her very soul merging with mine. It was overwhelming, like drowning in light, but instead of pulling me under, it lifted me higher, filling every empty space I'd carried inside. And I understood. Make me full wasn't just a plea. It was a bond, a union. Not about survival alone, but about choosing to share everything: fear, desire, hope. The hunters roared, firing again. The energy beams struck the light surrounding us, but instead of piercing through, the light bent, absorbed, and then hurled the blasts back at them. The chamber erupted in chaos, stone cracking, runes blazing brighter. One by one, the hunters fell, their weapons shorting out, their bodies flung across the ruins. At last, only their leader remained. He staggered toward us, visor cracked, his voice desperate. "She will starve, human. You can't fill her forever." Ilara's glow pulsed as she turned to him, her legs curling around my waist in one final act of defiance, holding me as if I were her anchor to existence. Her lips brushed my ear as she whispered, fierce and trembling, "But he already has." The light exploded outward, a wave of raw energy that ripped through the ruins. The leader screamed as he was consumed, his shadow dissolving into nothingness. And then, silence. The ruins stilled. The runes dimmed back to faint pulses, steady and calm, as though they had fulfilled their purpose. I collapsed to my knees, Ilara still in my arms. She looked up at me, eyes shimmering with exhaustion and something deeper, something eternal. "You did it," I whispered, brushing silver hair from her face. "No," she breathed, her fingers tracing my jaw. "We did it. You made me full." Her lips found mine again, this time not desperate or fleeting, but tender, lingering, filled with everything we hadn't said. I kissed her back with everything I had left, feeling her glow seep into me, warming me to my core. When we finally broke apart, her smile was soft but certain. "You've bound yourself to me now. There's no going back." "Good," I said, pressing my forehead against hers. "Because I'm not letting you go." She laughed, a sound so delicate and beautiful it made the ruined chamber feel like paradise. We stayed like that for a long moment, holding each other in the silence of ancient stone, breathing as one. The world outside could have collapsed, and I wouldn't have cared. But then, faintly, the ruins trembled again. Not with threat, but with promise. The runes glowed softly, revealing a passage opening in the far wall. Beyond it, a faint starlight beckoned. Ilara's eyes met mine, filled with both wonder and uncertainty. "It's showing us a way out." I tightened my grip on her hand. "Then let's take it. Together." She nodded, her glow soft but steady now, no longer flickering. She rose with me, still leaning against my side, her legs brushing mine as though reminding me she belonged there. We walked toward the passage, step by step, through the ruins of her origin and into the unknown. At the threshold, she stopped, pulling me close one more time. Her lips hovered just above mine as she whispered the words that had haunted me since the beginning, but now they rang with love, not fear. "Make me full, with you." And when I kissed her, the stars themselves seemed to open, endless and bright, as though the universe had been waiting for us all along. Together, we stepped into the starlight, not knowing where it would take us, but certain of one thing: we belonged to each other now. And nothing, not hunters, not destiny, not even the void of space, would ever take that away.